welcome back to my channel. Two Guys Repairs Made Simple, Made Easy. Here's my Suzuki 400 King Quad. When it first arrived here, all four brakes were locked. That was one beast of a bike to try to get up this hill. Thankfully for me, I had a strong enough ancestor of this bike, 300, which I was told has 900-pound towing capacity and ultra low four-wheel drive with the front differentials locked. Seems to be quite a mule when you have everything working. When I first got this bike, as I described, the four wheels were locked very tightly. These wheels would not budge. What made it even more friendly, the piston was semi-seized, and one of, I believe it was intake, that's what it was, intake valves was also stuck, and somebody tried to tighten it down thinking that it was loose. So I went through everything. I had everything from above the piston off. The piston freed up, thankfully, and did not damage anything. It was all nice mirror finish on the inside of the jug. Cylinder head looked to be in great shape. I had fixed the intake valve. She's nice and smooth. She goes up and down nice and freely like a brand new valve. I valve seated everything so that way it'd be nice and tight, good compression. I have taken both front wheels off, got the brakes to where they weren't seized. They just kind of like mated themselves together from sitting. So now, good part is those were brand new brake hardware, brand new everything, brand new cylinders. That was awesome. And this one, not so fortunate. I had to cut the hub off of this one. And as you can see, I just got that brake cable lever tied back out of the way, and got the vice grips tied to where it doesn't, cause any lockage, cause the wheel to lock up. So I had to cut the brake drum off, take the hardware out. So now she rolls nice and smooth. Both her tires are completely shot. They're bald, will not hold air. The front wheels are completely shot and bald, but surprisingly still hold air. They don't have any dry rot. So those, I would honestly say, Dunlop makes some pretty good tires. Usually they have real good tread like this, and then this nightmare starts happening. All these stress cracks all through the tires. So, but these hold air. So that's not the problem. So this is almost ready to be test driven. She just needs a set of tires, which I'm going to use these dinosaur dry crack tires. Mount them over here just to get this bike to where it's movable, so I can have me a work bike to ride around with and maybe something to play with. So just recently bought this guy. I really like these lines of bikes. They really have done me good so far. Each one of them I had low miles on them. Unfortunately, when they get damaged, people neglect them, and then it becomes affordable to buy. And this is basically the overall condition I get these bikes in for the price I pay. So this one arrives and appears to have engine oil. Somebody's really gone through this harness, and I don't know why, unless it was having previous issues and that kind of stuff. Don't do that to your bike. Never do that, okay? You will fry that sucker. That is not proper way of wiring up wires. That is not the way to do it. That switch does not have a relay to take the heat off of that switch. Yeah, it's 12 volt rated, but it's not rated for high amp. You get 30-40 amp on that switch, you'll burn it out. Don't use electrical tape. Improper way of doing stuff. Use shrink tube. That works better. So I know where everything goes with as far as the wires. It's got a nice brand new starter relay, or no, actually solenoid is proper word for that. Sorry. Everything appears to be here intact. I really dig the winch. That comes in handy. Boy, does that come in handy. Love that. That's the best option to have on any four-wheeler, any off-road vehicle. But nightmare wire. That's a nightmare. So here's the story behind this one. Don't understand why, because this is a shame. This thing's only got 1,800 miles on it. Yeah, very low miles. That's a shame. And well, you can only imagine what happened here. They tried to turn this to free up the engine and snap the bolt off. So that's not good. So they claim the piston seized up. For some reason, something's telling me that's not true. That cylinder head looks entirely too clean. Brakes, all that, they move nice and freely. This bike hasn't been sitting for long. It has very minimal rust. I mean, you have surface rust, but it's very minimal. So this is the first time getting a stab at it to see what's up with it. But I'm thinking it's the one-way bearing is seriously what I think is wrong with it. I think the one-way bearing is seized, which will give you the impression that the piston is seized up when it's really not. That bearing is supposed to turn one way freely and turn the other way nice and solid when you engage the starter. So I'm going to go with the educated guess that that bearing seized up and it's not able to let the engine rotate. It shifts through the gears. You can push on it and it locks the engine down completely. So my first attempt is I'm going to pop this side cover off, get in there the one-way bearing, get into the centrifugal clutch, because that can also be the problem. If that's seized, then that will definitely also cause the same replicated issues that a seized piston would do. So it means they broke the pull start. I have to come in through this side, hand, turn it with a wrench and see which part is seized. And that will tell me a lot what's going on. Hopefully that's what the problem is, because that's a relatively easy fix. It's cheap, and I don't have to take that cylinder head off. I don't think anyone would enjoy having to go through all this. Not only you have to pop the valve cover, you have to pull this shifter out of the way. You have to pull that exhaust off and out of the way. That's not a fun job to do, by the way. Okay, and you're constantly cutting your hands all the hell up in there trying to get to all that. This plastic's got to come out of the way to get ham room and access up in there. So if I can prevent having to go through all that, you best better believe I will. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to investigate that side cover, because I think that's where my problem is. So I'm going to pull that guy off, and that should only take me roughly about an hour. So I mean, everything and all the signs are pointing to that's the problem. But And if it turns out that's not the problem, well then at least I know what I have to do. She rolls real nice, just as well as this one does. All the brakes work on this one except for this one. It's probably a break in the brake line somewhere leaked out, and it's just no fluid. So that should be an easy fix. Everything, that throttle doesn't seem to want to move, but that's what she looks like down in there. That's all pure neglect. That's what it looks like when you abuse a bike. It's a shame because it's only low miles, very low miles. So I got all the plastics. I got these plastics that go to this bike. Then I got these plastics, which are impressively good condition for this year. The only damage I'm seeing is right there at the luggage rack, that rear mud flap, and then yeah, I got some jet skis here too. So this is all impressive condition. I mean, usually these things are really, this got busted. That's no good. Usually this happens to them. See that big old crack? Usually that's what happens when they sit in the sun for too long. But if you see down the side of it nice and shiny, that's good. The one before this that I had, the 300, the plastics got dry rotted, and they start presenting this cracking, and they start scratching real easy. And somebody tried to repaint this, and you see it all over the whole bike. But usually this is what happens to it. You can see that white powdery look, sun damage, dried out the plastic. Oil runs out of it, out of the plastic, and then gets a lighter color and doesn't hold up too well. You can just push your finger right through it. Push your finger right through it and it breaks. So I think I'm going to go with this color for this bike. It means I got to repair the plastics when it's done. I just shied on there to see what it looked like before I painted my 300. So it's a black metal flake. It's a real high gloss shine. I mean, when it's done, when you sand it and then you paint it, put clear coat, she really looks great. Makes the bike look newer and makes it look a lot better. This blue, when you walk up on it, it's instantly, oh, assumption she's an old bike. But when you put that black on there, that metal flake, looks to be like a 2000, 2004 bike. So yeah, really cool. So these are my two goals right now. And then walking up on a horror story looking bike. This is a Franken bike from hell. That gives you an example right there. Let me tell you something. This should be a different video. I'm going to title this one, What Not to Do to a Four-Wheeler. You can see why. This is what you don't do to a four-wheeler. This is it's a China bike. I really don't like saying that word. It was made in China is more proper term. I don't like saying that like that because it sounds offensive. So they're famous for over excessive wiring. I can make this bike run off of 6 wires, maybe 8 wires. I can make this bike start up, run, and shut off. Don't need all that. That's a horror story, okay? And it also has a winch which has not been tested yet. It's quite rusty. But this is really impressive out of their line of bikes, that how solid this thing is. You would really have to beat the crap out of this thing for it to inflict any injury. Unfortunately, the plastics, I mean, this thing, you grab it and it just breaks right off. Oh, I got my hand away. Just breaks right off, you know. Very cheap plastic. So this is the Honda clone of a TRX 350 Rancher. But it does not have the ES. Electronic shifter is what the ES stands for. This has the manual foot shifter. It rocks back and forth like you commonly see on these brand of bikes. But it has precisely the same piston, same head, same cylinder jug, same bottom end, upper end of a TRX 350. My piston from a 350 from a Honda fits right in there perfectly. This one showed up in this condition. You can't really see much because I got it covered up. Man, this thing's a nightmare. You can see there now. This thing is horrible. I like the challenge. I can get this. I got this bike up and running. It runs. So you can stay tuned for this one because I'm going to show you how to eliminate all of those wires. That's unnecessary. Each one of those green wires are excessive ground that you do not need. All the red wires is over excessive wiring. Each one of those wires go to a cutoff feature to where you can't start because of this, you can't start because of that. You got to do this and that before you get started. But as I said, with the switches not being backed up by relays, that's what happens. It can't handle the load of 30 and 40 amps being drawn into there. It burns them out, it fries them, it cooks them, and then it renders it useless. Okay, these little tiny peasy wires right here are just not proper rated wires to be able to put on stuff like this. It'll get too hot and then causes these wires down here to get electrical short. Here's a good example. Here's another switch that did that. Okay, even though it says 12 volt on it, it does not mean you can just go run this as proper, switching. You got to back it up with a relay. The relay is what takes the heat off the switch. It also depends on how many times do you want to have to keep doing this stuff. So just keep it simple. Make it easy on yourselves. Learn the schematics of switching with a relay. It's not that hard to do. That's why they come manufacture relays. Okay, little 4-pin takes the heat off the wire harness, takes it off the switches, push buttons for push start. And it'll save you a lot of problems, a lot of money, because then you have to go back and rewire the whole thing just because that happened. So keep it easy on yourself. The other thing I got in the plans is it's a 3-wheel trike. I'll show you better videos of that when it comes to the time of that. So I think I'm going to end the video here and I'm going to get to work. There's my old baby right there. There's my baby girl right there. 351 street ride. I still got more videos coming for that. The 68 seats from Thunderbird are not going to work. So I had to find a different route. So that's for a later date. So I got a good plan on it and I'm going to make it happen. But I think this is where I'm going to leave the video. I'll come back to it as I get through stuff, and I'll give you the overall end result. And maybe this will help alleviate your stress, chase down your problems. So just because piston appears to be locked up does not necessarily mean that's the problem. So in this situation, I would recommend pulling the side cover Get at that one-way bearing. If that moves, then you know that's not the problem. If it's a centrifugal clutch and it moves, then that's not the problem. Then you would have to do the nightmare repair. That's not something I'm looking forward to. So my goal is today I'm going to pop that side cover, see what it's going to reveal. Wish me luck, and I'll come back and show you what I find. Have a good one, guys. Stay strong, stay positive, keep your head up, and enjoy your life every day, buddies. Because you never know when your time's going to come, and you never know when it's going to end. Mine almost did. So I'm up here every chance I get and push forward, keep my life going. And believe me, out of all the reasons in the world, I would have number one reasons why not to be up here. It really hurts, and I suffer every day, but I push forward, and I'm getting stronger. I'm not feeling better, but I'm getting stronger, and I'm able to move. That's the main thing. When you allow your body to sit, you'll end up like this bike. It will not move. So keep yourself moving. Even if it's to get up and walk 1 minute a day, that's a step in the right direction. Eventually, I will gain confidence to get back to a mountain bike again. I was riding 20 miles a week, and my 4 miles almost killed me. 90% heart blockage. So I took life a little bit more serious. So just remember, keep pushing. Don't over push yourself, because then you can put yourself down. But just stay in motion. That's my best advice to anyone. Stay in motion. Keep your head up. Think positive. You think about negative stuff, that's all you're going to have in your life. Pure negativity. And it will welcome you with a silver platter. And you will fall sucker to it. Pull your head out of the dumps and keep pushing. Make yourself happy. And then when you surround yourself with positive atmosphere, everyone else will follow. Everyone else will be happy and be positive and want to be around you. When you're negative, no one wants to deal with you. So enjoy, guys. Stay tuned. I'll pick back up and show you what I find. Wish me luck.